Oh, fucking hell. Oh, God. The winter is going. I'm starting to get cold.
Hello, and welcome to Max Level Games.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the Max Level Games podcast. I am your host this week, Mr. James Walters. Liam is back from Ireland, but he kind of got caught at customs with an unregistered package. So hopefully he'll be back next week with a mostly intact bumhole. But we'll find out soon enough on that matter. For the returning listeners, welcome back. I've missed you so much. Did you miss me? I know you did, you sweet talker, you. And for the new listeners, welcome to the Max Level Games podcast. We're going to sit here for about an hour or so, probably a bit more than an hour this week, and talk about films, games, TV, and anything in between, and other stuff too, usually. And all the stuff we know you love deep down, even though you never want to admit it. You can find us here on SoundCloud.com. We're also every Wednesday. You can also see us on YouTube every weekend of that Wednesday we upload it. And we also have a very active Facebook page over at facebook.com/MaxLevelGames. So give that a like, give this a like, subscribe where you can, because we love each and every little bit of appreciation you give us. We do really appreciate it. Last thing before we start is, obviously you may have noticed, this is going to be a mature podcast. We do not sugarcoat things here on the Max Level Games podcast, unless those things are donuts or those candy bacon strips. They're pretty good too, or like cola bottles too, just sweets in general. So you've been warned. You may have already noticed I'm bunged up to fuck. Oh god, it's starting. I'm really bad hay fever wise, and I think I've just caught a bit of a cold recently, so I I apologize if the audio quality is a bit messy and stuff. And then obviously for people who are watching along on YouTube, you'll notice as well the format on the video is a bit different. Anything that's going to be on this side of the screen, I'm going to check, this side of the screen, I'm going to move. Anything you need to see, any big pictures and stuff that can't be cut down, I'm going to move myself across the screen, and then you'll see the bigger image on the video itself. But yes, that is that stuff involved. So yes, oh goodness. This week's been a strange one. I've just started back at university, so I'm busy as fuck. There's also some housework going on. That's taking up a lot of time too. So my limit of gaming this week is incredibly small. Whereas the news this week is heavy. I've been sat in this room for the last 8 hours, working through all the fucking news stories and stuff for this week's podcast. So it's taken so long. I'm actually recording this now at 6 at night, or in the afternoon technically, I guess. So I've been here all day, trying to gather up all the stories to the best of my ability. So we'll see how that goes now. But yeah, games played. So first off, I finished Phoenix Wright. I did that last episode. Oh god, it was that case was really difficult. In fact, it pains me to say this, and I really hate that I have to admit this, but it got so difficult at points, I actually had to look up a guide, because I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. There were certain puzzles where the link that they wanted me to follow, I just wasn't clicking in my head at all. So I pulled up a guide, and I just look at it at just the thing I need to do. I was not looking any further than that until I absolutely had to. Which usually worked out pretty well. I'd be given the one hint, and it'd get me past that puzzle, and I'd get through the rest of it. Which is obviously, it's not a knock against the game itself. It's just me. I didn't figure these things out. So I mean, it really bugs me that I had to do that. But when I finished that, I swiftly moved on to the second game in the trilogy, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney: Justice for All, which only came out just over a year after the first one, according to the internet. But you wouldn't know, to be honest with you. Most everything looks the exact same. Like the menus and stuff. It looks. If I didn't buy this trilogy and I'd waited the whole year to buy the next game in the series after it came out, I'd honestly just think I've just bought an expansion that's taken a while to develop. Everything looks the exact same. It plays the exact same. So far, the only things that's different are, well, cosmetically, your health bar, as it were, is different. You actually have a bar now, not exclamation marks. And within this first episode, I'm only in the first episode so far. Well, actually, no. Episode 2, because the first one's kind of like a tutorial. In this second episode, you have, rather than just pieces of evidence, you also have profiles you can present of people to get answers out of people. And I don't know if it's going to carry on to the rest of the game, but in this second episode specifically, you get an item from Maya. It's a Magatama, I think it's called. It's like a spirit thing. You get that charged up, and then when you talk to people, sometimes it'll be very obvious they're lying to you, and all these chains will appear in locks and stuff, and you've got to present a very specific piece of evidence to them to get them to stop lying to you, basically. And as I say, I don't know if that's going to be consistent throughout the entire game, or it's just for this episode. I don't know yet. But so far, that's the only really mechanics that have differed slightly. So I'm looking forward to finishing it. I'm looking forward to finishing the third game, and then moving on to the newer 3DS titles. All in all, it's just a great series. I really enjoy it. Next thing I moved on to was, I dabbled a bit in another 3DS game, and that is Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. Now, I've always wanted to play this game. It came out way back on the PS2. It got an Android and iOS re-release, I believe, only in Japan. And then it came out on 3DS, according to this, last January. Oh, excuse me, I do apologize. So it's very classic JRPG, which I like. There's also parts of it where I'm just like, how do I put it? These mechanics have been a lot more streamlined in later games, so it's a bit of a head fuck to sort of like have to think about how. Okay, well, the most basic example is if you have healing items, you pick up healing items, healing herbs, because it's a Dragon Quest game, you have to then give them specifically to your party members, because you can't reach into the bag mid fight to use a healing item, which I didn't realize this. I barely made it through this one fight, and I was like, I know I have healing items. Why don't my characters have these items? It was only then I realized you have to specifically give them to your characters, which, as I say, it's very old style JRPG play, so I'll get more accustomed to it as I go to it. But I only played roughly about half an hour's worth of the game so far. I can't really say anything more than that in terms of how I find the game. I know that I'm going to enjoy it. I really do. But that's all I've gotten to. I'm kind of focusing now on finishing the Phoenix Wright trilogy at least, and then I'll venture into other games. And the last game I played, it's with the recent events and stuff, this is very bittersweet to talk about, and we'll go into this later on. I played the final episode of the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game. Well, I'll say one thing. Yes, there was actually a section where I got to play as Groot, and it kind of worked out as I imagined it. I'd choose the options of what I want to say, but Groot would just say, "I am Groot," and then someone would interpret it or something along those lines, which was quite funny. But no, I thought with the way the whole story went, it was the best way for it to go. I'm trying to think back to it now, because as I say, last week when I finished, I literally went back and finished the last episode that night. So it's been a few days since I played it. What else? It left it. I feel like it left it in sort of a place where you could say, yeah, we're only doing one season of this, and that's enough. Or you could say, yeah, you know what, we'll carry on the story of these guys. But excuse me. I enjoyed it nonetheless. I think it is a very solid Telltale Games series. I still highly rate The Wolf Among Us as a great series. The Walking Dead is also a great series. I liked Game of Thrones, even though I fucked up horrendously with that game. And Guardians, I didn't actually do too bad on at the end. I think I made, even though the choices you make should always be the choices you want to make, not what you think is the best route or what you think other people might have selected. Just go with what your gut says, and I did that. I feel like it's the best story I could have asked for in terms of how I tailored it, but that's just my opinion on the matter. We're going to move straight on now to the film news. I'm trying to rush through a little bit because, as I say, I'm so nasally and horrible. I'm so sorry, but I didn't want to leave you guys without a podcast this week. Plus, as I say, there's a lot to go over. So the first thing we're going to talk about is it's to do with Avengers 4. The Russo brothers on their Instagram account have released this image. Now, I've got it up on screen with me right here. It's a black and white image. It just said, the caption, it just says, "Look hard." And people have just been picking it to pieces. If you look on the far left side, as you look looking at the screen on screen, there's a tiny X mark on the big, what I assume is a green screen wall. People looked at that and gone, "Oh, the X-Men are going to be in this film. That is brilliant." I don't think that's that kind of. I don't think that's what they were looking at. There's a few X's on there. I assume that's more to do with production than it is to to say, yeah, the X-Men are going to be in this film. Plus, as we say, at the minute, as far as the public is concerned, there may have been like secret dealings and stuff, but right now, there's no confirmation that X-Men or Disney has any rights to use the X-Men and such. What else? There's been other people who've noticed that if you look around, there are different A's. There's certain things that spell out a big A on the screen. Like there's a ladder behind, I don't know which Russo brother that is. There's a ladder. Further up there's like the wall shapes which you can get A out of. The little structure on the other side of the Russo brother that has an A, and then a bit further along there's another ladder that has an A. So there's 4 A's, Avengers 4, yada yada yada. And then some people have gone really, really far out and actually spelled out the word Endgame. I've already seen it being done on another video, but even now looking at it, I actually can't see how they'd get Endgame out of it. Maybe that's just me not seeing what other people see here, but at the end of the day, people are still trying to pick it apart. That's all I'm trying to say. So, as I say, you can see it now on screen. You can go find it on the Russo Brothers Instagram account, so you can have a look for yourself, see if you see anything that no one else can. But that's all we have for now on Avengers 4 until we know more about Avengers 4. Until Captain Marvel comes out, I assume. Moving on, though, Marvel Studios. We're keeping Marvel Studios. They are set to take control of X-Men if the Fox Disney deal goes through successfully, which so far, bit rocky waters, but it's still going. But Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, so he basically runs everything, he has confirmed that as and when, or even when, the Disney Fox deal is done, he said, quote, "It only makes sense for Marvel to be supervised by one entity. There shouldn't be 2 Marvels," which basically suggests that the godfather of the MCU, Kevin Feige, will be the guy who's running the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Deadpool, all these kind of things, as and when they make it to Disney's under Disney's banner, which is obviously probably the best things you could ask for, because as we say, Kevin Feige has been with this series, been with the studio since the beginning. He created the Marvel Studios, so I think it would be best to give him just more things to work with, and he can put them into his big plan or whatever he has. But yeah, that's all there is on that. I didn't realize this until I heard about this story, but Kevin Feige was actually involved in like the Spider-Man film, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, the first one or two of those, as well as like the first couple X-Men films, so like the 2 good ones. I didn't even know that he was part of that, and then he got kind of taken off of it for X-Men 3, which, when you think about it, the first 2 X-Men films were received very well, then 3 was just kind of like, there's a bit of a pattern there. You see what I mean? So, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't know that, but now you guys know that too. Sticking with Marvel, we have a bit of Marvel news. Daredevil Season 3. It has a release date. I completely forgot to get it up on screen before I started recording this, but I will get that up right now for you guys. I'm pretty sure it's the December 18th, actually. Not December, October. It's coming in October this year. I want to say 18th. I'm pretty sure it's around my birthday. So... Oh, no, 19th. I apologize. October 19th, the day before my birthday, Daredevil Season 3 is coming out. We have a poster and stuff, which looks pretty fucking cool. He's got like the T-shaped look with the whole Jesus thing. It's very, very religious seeming. There's another version of this poster that I couldn't find where it zoomed out a bit more, and people have spotted Avengers Tower in the background. As I say, I couldn't see it with this image you're going to see on screen. But yeah, Daredevil Season 3 is coming very soon, and I'm looking forward to it horrendously, because we need to find out what's going on with Matt and Daredevil as such. Moving on, though, we have some rumours and stuff. So, as we already know, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has been indefinitely delayed because there's no James Gunn. Half the actors don't want to do it without him, and then there's just no talk of a new director filling his space. But there are some rumours. According to the website Screen Geek, they think that the slot with which Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was going to take up on Marvel's movie schedule for the couple years, or 2020 and beyond and stuff, is going to be replaced with Doctor Strange 2, of all things, which is set to begin production in the spring of 2019. So it could well fill in the space if they were to get it, done and dusted in time for when Guardians 3 was set to come out. And I also feel like it would sort of fill that gap a little bit of the whole cosmic side of things, depending on how big they go with Doctor Strange 2. Other than that, we have no... It's like I said, it's total rumour, so take it how you will. But I feel like, yeah, if they're not going to give us Guardians 3 anytime soon, we need to have something to fill the space. But as I say, total rumor. Take it how you will. We'll see. Well, speaking of upcoming Marvel films, I didn't realize this, but The Eternals is a film they want to make. And it's good. It has a director right now. It's her name is Chloe Zhao. I think that's how you pronounce it. Chloe Zhao. She apparently directed a film called The Rider, which was a critically acclaimed Western drama that won the Art Cinema Award at the at the Cannes Film Festival. I've never personally heard it myself, but she won awards. She's done good, so she can clearly prove she can do it. So that's why Marvel just like, yeah, go on, take this property, see what you can do with it. The cousins Matthew and Ryan Firpo are going to be writing the script, and obviously, big man Kevin Feige is going to be the one to produce the film because that's what he does. Norman Reedus of The Walking Dead fame and soon to be Death Stranding fame, as soon as we figure out what the fuck that game is, he has mentioned that there's a few characters within the MCU, or at least the Marvel characters, that are sort of available under the MCU banner that he would like to play. Well, one's not yet, but he will be. The first being pretty obvious, he wants to play Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, motorbike. He loves his motorbikes, so it fits really well. Now, I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but as far as what I'm aware is in the show, we know that there is a Ghost Rider in the show. His name's Robbie Reyes. He drives a car rather than a motorbike. Now, I don't know how true this is, but it was said that in the series, you actually see Johnny Blaze hand over the mantle to him. I don't know how true that is, but if that's the case, then I guess it muddles things up a little bit. I don't know. Unless they were to introduce a series that had multiple Ghost Riders, so maybe Johnny Blaze gets the power back somehow, and Robbie Reyes is still the Ghost Rider, and the two of them do stuff together. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see him in, though, regardless. He's a good actor, and as I say, Ghost Rider, I could definitely see him playing Ghost Rider. Probably better than Nicolas Cage did. And the other character he's been eyeing up to play is the Silver Surfer, of all people. As I say, this character is not yet under the Marvel banner, but so far there isn't a Silver Surfer. Like, the last time we saw a Silver Surfer on screen was Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer, which was the second film in that mini franchise. But since then, as far as I'm aware, he's not appeared once in anything. Fox, Disney, nothing. So really, he could play that. Maybe it'd be a different interpretation, or maybe just do like a voice and someone else do the mocap here. I haven't the foggiest. But I think it'd be interesting nonetheless. But as someone else has pointed out, the Silver Surfer has like quite a big like presence to him. He's the thing that like heralds the coming of Galactus. So I don't know if that kind of part would not be suited to Norman Reedus, but something that sort of underplays him almost. I feel like if he could do more with the character physically, then I think Silver Surfer's probably not the best option. But that's just my opinion. Again, you guys might have different ones. But yeah, that's my opinion on that matter. We're going to move on now to the DC side of things because, as we all know, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker origin film is filming right now. We've seen images of him last week as Arthur. His name escaped me. Arthur something. But now we have an image of him as the Joker, quote unquote, the Joker, because it's sort of like test makeup. And we've seen a few videos of filming where he's been in the same makeup and done Joker-esque things. But I don't know if it's going to be finalized or not. I don't know. Maybe he just tries different things until he gets the paler and paler and paler. I have no idea. I think, though, regardless of whether this is final or not, I actually kind of like it. I mean, it's very much... It has the iconic green hair and like just kind of like the typical clown makeup. And I think the sort of the iconography of the green hair mixed with just like the everyday of like any standard clown makeup, I kind of like it. I don't know, it's a nice blend in my opinion, but that's just my opinion on the matter. You guys can see for yourself on that matter, but yeah, so that's a test look at this Joker we're going to get from Joaquin Phoenix. But speaking of other DC characters, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, again, Walking Dead fame of Negan, and he's also played, he was also Supernatural, and a few other things as well. He did a lot of things. He has mentioned how he'd like to play Lobo. Now, personally, I don't know who Lobo is. He's not a character that I'm familiar with in DC Comics continuity and such. The only thing I know is that he sort of is heavily made up. I think he has like dreads and stuff as well. Not too certain. But he mentioned how he'd like to play Lobo. The only issue that people have pointed out is, well, Jeffrey D. Morgan technically already played a character in the DCEU, and that was Thomas Wayne. It was all of like 5 seconds, and he got shot, and that was it. Which is like, when you think about it, that's like the worst fucking like job to be handed. It's like, here you go, here's the money to be in this film. Oh, cool, what do I gotta do? You just gotta get shot and die. Oh, that it? Yeah, that's it. Cool, okay. Quickest paycheck ever. But really, as I say, Lobo is supposed to be like a big, heavily made up character, so I don't see an issue with Jeffrey D. Morgan playing him if he was to be heavily made up, or maybe he's CGI even. Maybe he's a big CGI character and he does the motion capture and voice for him. I have no idea. Could be interesting to see either way, as we know. As I say, Jeffrey D. Morgan's a great actor. I'd love to see him in anything DCEU. Or at least, I'd love to see DCEU be better. And maybe Lobo's the kind of character that can do that. Again, I don't know him, so I can't really comment. But, yeah. Speaking of The Walking Dead, though, we've mentioned 2 Walking Dead actors now. We're going to talk about Walking Dead as it is. AMC, who currently runs the Walking Dead TV show, they have plans for the franchise that go on for the next 10 years. That is a decade's worth of Walking Dead content, including multiple new TV shows and movies. They've spoken to multiple large media companies about collaborating on different projects to do with The Walking Dead, which, if they actually come to fruition, could cost up to several $1 million. So this is despite the fact that the viewership of the program has been going down for the last few years. It's kind of like an all-time low now. But they plan to keep going for the 10 years. Maybe all things will change in the next season. Season 9 comes out on the 7th of October. So hopefully, maybe that season will turn things around and we'll actually get back into the show and really appreciate it. But only time will tell. We'll see on that matter. Moving on, according to The Hollywood Reporter, Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther, has been hired to produce Space Jam, the Space Jam sequel reboot thing that's coming out. So Spring Hill Entertainment have posted this picture on Twitter. I'll have that on for your screen now. It's got like these 4 lockers, these 4 basketball lockers. The first labeled Bugs Bunny, the second LeBron James, the third is Terrence Nance, and the fourth is Ryan Coogler. So it seems like this Space Jam sequel, which has been sort of talked about for, a long while, actually has a bit of traction now, so who knows? Maybe we'll actually see it come out at some point in the future. When and how, I have no idea, but I don't know, I'd kind of look forward to it, mainly because I love Space Jam, so if they were to sort of bring it back in the right way, I wouldn't object to it. Plus, I love Bugs Bunny, he's cool. But yeah, that's all on that story. And last bit of film TV news is Michael B. Jordan. He's been in Creed. He was Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. He was in Fantastic Four, but we don't really talk about that. He is set to star in a film called Without Remorse and other Rainbow Six inspired films. Without Remorse is going to come out first. I was trying to get my words around that. So he's set to play a character called John Clark, who is a Navy SEAL who appears in about 17 of Tom Clancy novels. As I say, I'm not a fan of this franchise or Tom Clancy's work. It's not my thing. So anyone out there who knows the franchise, maybe even reads the books, if I say to you, Michael B. Jordan's going to play John Clark, I'm curious as to what people respond to that. Apparently, though, he'll also produce the film alongside John Applebaum and Corin Nimac, and there's another name in there as well who's like the head executive producer, but I've drawn a blank and I forgot to write it down, unfortunately. So if you're a fan of not Navy SEALs, but Tom Clancy content and books and stuff, or the Rainbow Six franchise in general, there's a slew of games coming out. Slew of films coming out. Oh god, this is a train wreck. I just feel awful. I'm sorry, guys. But we're going to move on to the gaming news in just a moment. And moving on finally to this week's last portion of the episode is the gaming news. We have a lot of gaming news to go over. Not all that good, I'm afraid. And I will try and slow myself down to get the most impact out of what I'm saying, or at least get you the most information as I can. As I say, I'm kind of bunged up, so I'm forcing myself to speak quickly to get these things out, but I'm also missing important points. So, my apologies. So the gaming news. The first thing we have to talk about, arguably the biggest gaming story of the last week, is that Telltale Games is shutting down, or has shut down. Is in the process of shutting down. It came out last Friday. A lot of the staff, or now ex-staff at Telltale Games, were tweeting out how they'd lost their jobs and they need some work. We have more numbers as to how many members of staff were let off. There were reports that it was like in the 200s. One number said 250. The last number I saw said 275. That is a lot of people who have just been snap your fingers, and they've been Thanosed. They've been practically Thanosed. 275 people have been let off from Telltale Games, according to a lot of reports, according to every report out there, without any severance. They've just been told, you're out of a job, we ain't going to pay you, go home. And even worse still, they had like 30 minutes to get their stuff and leave. There was no indication that Telltale was going to close down on this day. And they all came into work, and it was just a case of, guys, we're closing now, like, we're done. So you've all got 30 minutes to get your shit and go. We're done here. Now, while I say a majority and specify numbers, because it's not every single member of staff that has been let go. According to a lot of sources and a lot of reports, there is sort of like a skeleton crew that are still there, like the bare minimum number of staff members that are still there who are staying on to finish things off. Now, I say this because there's been a few rumours / confirmations / rumours again to do with what this team are working on. Now, the initial rumours coming out were that, this team is staying behind to finish off the final season of The Walking Dead, which, as of the date right now, has only had 2 episodes come out. The second one came out, I think it was like yesterday. Yesterday, 25th September. The episode 2 came out. So there was most reports saying that, this team's finished off Walking Dead. They have to be. Surely they are, because, it's one of the high-profile franchises they have. It's only got 2 episodes left the rest of the year, so they want to get it done and out the door. And then that's it for Telltale. Now, unfortunately, other reports have come out and said, no, they're not working on that. After episode 2 drops, The Walking Dead is effectively dead. No pun intended. Which is, if you're a fan of like these kind of games, you know that sucks. That is an incomplete story. And a lot of people have actually called up Sony about refunds to the season pass, because if you buy the season pass, it's like £25, probably the same in dollars, and you're only getting 2 episodes out of it. So a lot of people are upset. Some people want refunds. As far as I'm aware, only one person has actually gotten a refund, because as I say, he actually called up and was like, I want my money back. So there's that. But so this team are actually reportedly working on the Minecraft story mode, which was set to come out on Netflix, because we mentioned previously that Telltale and Netflix had a bit of a deal where they were going to release some games on Netflix to be played on to their customers on the streaming service. And obviously they also wanted to make Stranger Things game with Telltale Games, but that is no more. So they're working on that instead, and as I say, other reports say the final season is dead. There's 2 episodes out, and that's all you're going to get. There's no 100% confirmation just yet. There's a few things that I'll get into a bit more later, but there's been people at Telltale, like higher ups, who have come out and said that things are happening, but we'll give more details later. So at the minute, everything is kind of like up in the air. But as I say, with them being closed now, that means other projects like The Wolf Among Us Season 2, which I was really looking forward to, that's gone. As I say, the Stranger Things Telltale Games series, that's gone too, which is a real shame. But the sort of light at the end of the tunnel on this first part of this story, as I say, it's a few more things to go into, is that many other game developers and people who work in games companies out there have started a hashtag called hashtag Telltale Jobs in order to reach out to people who've just lost their job out of nowhere and offer them, and say we are hiring at Ubisoft or Santa Monica Studios or 2K Games, things like that. They're really sort of trying to find a new revenue for all these people. Because as I say, it's really bad. It's really hard to lose a job, especially if, as the reporter's saying, it just happened almost instantaneously. These people have been left without any sort of way to live until they find something else. And as I say, getting a job these days, speaking from experience, is not the easiest thing to do. So hopefully this hashtag helps people get their feet in some other doors in other game developing studios. But sticking with Telltale Games, as I say, moving on to this other sort of expansion on the Walking Dead news front. Telltale Games has said they are quote actively working to find a way to finish The Walking Dead's final season, with again quote multiple potential partners expressing interest to see the final season through to the end, quote, in some form. Again, all very vague, all very up in the air. There's also, they've not mentioned anything about how they're going to pay the staff, and don't get me wrong, as a fan of story, as a fan of the Telltale Games formula, I want to see them finish The Walking Dead. It's only fair that the people who've already paid for the season pass, and I was planning to get a season pass at some point in the future as well, after I binged through the previous Walking Dead titles. It's only fair that those people, if the game is canned, you're not going to finish the series, give them the money back. But you've just effectively thrown over 250 plus people out on their arse with nothing. So again, multiple people on Twitter, the developers, including Corey Barlog from Santa Monica Studios, have said, I'm happy for you to finish The Walking Dead. I'm also happy for you to wait. I'm also happy to wait on The Walking Dead, as long as you pay the people you just let go what they're due, which is completely understandable. Absolutely understandable. As I say, I'm yet to binge the older series of The Walking Dead to get really caught up with the stuff I've not played or the stuff I've not played in a long time. I'm happy to wait as long as it takes to finish off The Walking Dead as a series of Telltale Games, as a whole franchise. I want these people to have some kind of way to pay their rent for the next month. There was some sites, there was a lot of stories coming out, especially one developer who's been very vocal on Twitter. She was saying how a lot of the staff members there, because of the kind of how expensive it is to live in that area where the Telltale Studios was based, they've been living from paycheck to paycheck. So with nothing to come away from this severance with, they're fucked. Essentially, that is there's no polite way of saying it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They are fucked, and I think that needs to be their top priority. All these projects they had down the line, they can wait. If there are multiple partners who want to help see other projects through at Telltale Games that they were planning to make, as I say, with Stranger Things and finishing off The Walking Dead, that's fine. I'm all down for that. But before you even consider what comes next in this franchise, you need to pay your employees. You have just lost a lot of staff members, and a lot of those people probably have families, or at least need to eat. Everyone needs to eat. So give them what they're due first, then finish off the game. I could be speaking on behalf of no one there. I could be speaking on behalf of most of the fans everywhere. But I feel like that is the best course of action for Telltale going forward. And speaking of the Telltale closure, Netflix, as we already mentioned, were very keen to create a Stranger Things game along with Netflix, Telltale Games. I keep getting them too confused. Now, obviously with the closure, that project is dead in the water, but Netflix has still said they're going to explore more options to bring the Stranger Things franchise to a new medium. They are very keen on making a Stranger Things game in some form or another. Be it a story-driven game like Telltale. They actually had a mobile game out at one point, I believe. I've not seen anything gameplay-wise of it. I don't know much about it. But they are very keen to bring that franchise to gaming. So hopefully they'll find something in the future as to how they can do it. Maybe they can follow the story-based approach with a new studio. Maybe they'll find maybe from the ashes of these Telltale Games, a new studio that creates games in the exact same way, but maybe a bit more polished will arise. Only time will tell, unfortunately. But speaking of shutdowns and stuff, Capcom Vancouver studio was closed last week as well. This didn't get nearly as much attention in the press as Telltale Games did, because that kind of closed down procedure was sort of standard affairs. Really, it wasn't just like you've got 30 minutes, fuck off. The Capcom Vancouver games, for those who don't know, are the ones who make the Dead Rising franchise. So if you're a fan of that franchise, there's a chance that other studios will pick it up, but it also looks like it's just not going to carry on. As far as I'm aware, the last game that came out, Dead Rising 4, didn't do very well sales-wise, so it could just mean that the franchise is dead again, no pun intended. Which is a shame, because I was actually kind of curious to play Dead Rising 4 when it got the re-release on PS4. I was planning to pick it up at some point. But if the franchise is dead, I guess there's no point. We'll see either way. But we'll move on now. Now this story started off as a rumour. But in the middle of me typing all this up, it got officially sort of announced. And this is the PS Plus titles for October of 2018. The rumours were going around that we were going to get Neo and Diablo Eternal Collection, because there was screenshots out there on Reddit of those titles with the PS Plus banner that says free and stuff. Those have obviously been debunked now because we know what the games are. But just for a moment, let's pretend they were the titles for this month. That would have been pretty great. It would have been annoying for me because I would have got Neo, as is the running fucking theme on this channel. But Diablo, it's never been one of those series I've kind of been curious about even. So if it was to be in the free game, I would have given it a go. But Neo, I think, is actually really good. I didn't play much of it, but I enjoyed what I played. I will at some point maybe venture back into it, because it's that Dark Souls, Bloodborne style of gameplay, but with samurais and stuff. And as I've already mentioned previously, I don't like those kind of games, but I like Neo and its aesthetic and what it does and its story and stuff. So I'd be curious to give that a go properly at some point in the future. But obviously, as I say, these were just rumours, and they have now officially been debunked, because they have revealed this month's lineup for PS Plus, and it's not the best, shall we say? There's no polite way of saying it, really. It's just it's really, compared to recent months, this is just sort of meh. Really, it's really meh. The first game we're going to get on PS4 is Friday the 13th, which is it's the online multiplayer survival game where one player plays as Jason Voorhees, the rest play as the camp counselors. They gotta survive, essentially. I had no interest in this game when it came out. I still don't have any interest in this game. Frankly, I've seen some screenshots and video footage, and the character models look ugly as fuck. So, I mean, I'll still probably claim it, like I imagine most people should, when it comes free on PS Plus. But as for actually playing it, I highly doubt it. And the second game, I've never even heard of this game. I mean, at least with Friday the 13th, I've heard of it. Whereas this, I was just like, what the fuck is Laser League? It's another multiplayer game. It's sort of one review described it as Tron meets Rocket League. I was like, okay, I like Tron. I like Rocket League. This, however, looks like I wouldn't play it at all ever. But yeah, so those are the games we're actually getting this month: Friday the 13th and Laser League. Let's say not the greatest. The PS3 games we're getting are Master Reboot and The Bridge. The Bridge will be playable on PS4. And the Vita titles will be Rocket Birds 2 Evolution and 2064 Read Only Memories, which is a very strange title. Both of those will be available on PS4 playable as well. So let's say PS Plus October, not the greatest. I don't think Xbox Games with Gold has been revealed yet, but when it does, I imagine it'll be damn sight better than this. Xbox, you can have this month. We fucked up. We fucked up on this one. But keeping with PlayStation again, still, we have a few stories to do with Sony and PlayStation. PS Now has had an update in the last week to do with their streaming content and stuff. They have loads of PS4 and PS2 titles. You could previously just stream to your account and play them that way. But now what they've done is they've included a download feature. So say you've not got the best internet in the world, which I haven't. Streaming is not streaming Netflix is a struggle, never mind streaming games. Now you can just download the title straight to your system and play that way. The only caveat is that you will have to go online every couple of days just to sort of verify that you still have an account, just to verify you still have a subscription to PS Now and that those games are still playable with that subscription. All these features went live on the 20th. It's now 26th. They said they'll be rolling it out across the more regions over the few days. So I imagine by now it probably is available here in the UK or any other countries out there. All these titles will support any DLC or microtransactions that have been purchased in the game. And yeah, as I say, users only need to connect like every couple of days just to verify you still have a PS Now subscription and you can still play these games. But moving on again, Sony Japan have announced that coming 2019, no specific date or month yet, but in 2019, they're going to cease production of the PS Vita, at least in Japan. And I think that's the only place to actually make it. I could be wrong on that matter. Which basically means the PS Vita is effectively dead in 2019. The only way you're going to get hold of a console now is secondhand. Well, at that point, it will be secondhand, which you can buy them secondhand now. Oh gosh, I think I've seen a standard PS Vita model, which is the Wi-Fi model, for £90. There was a Wi-Fi 3G model for about 110, maybe even a flat 100. Basically, not as much as it was when it came out at launch. So, but it's a real shame. The only thing is, Sony have said they currently have no more plans to release handheld systems, which I think is probably a safe bet. Focus on the home console market and bringing out all these fantastic fucking games, and just stick to what you know for now. At the minute, Nintendo's kind of got the handheld market cornered, so leave them to that. Let's focus on the home consoles. But again, speaking of Sony, this happened. This news story came out literally probably like 20 minutes before I recorded this fucking episode. We've talked many times before in the past how Sony have been so fucking anal with the use of cross-platform play. This is not something that I would take advantage of. I don't know if Liam would take advantage of cross-platform play either with the games he plays, but at the same time we see the outcry of people who want cross-platform play on certain titles, and it's just only fair that they have that experience. There's no reason for it not to be. Well, guys, as of today, they've changed their mind. They've decided, after being yelled at by a couple thousand people, and after a lengthy, quote, evaluation process, the company has, quote, identified a path forward supporting cross-platform features for select third-party content. And what better first game to launch with first-party content, cross-platform play on PS4 than Fortnite, the game that is practically on every fucking system out there now. So there is an open beta available today, right now, which will allow Fortnite players on PS4 to play with Fortnite players on the Xbox, Android, iOS, Switch, Windows PC, and Mac. So if that's what you've been looking forward to most of all, is playing Fortnite with your friends on a different system, then by all means, my friends, go and play. I still will never play Fortnite again. It was not fun in my opinion. But moving on, Marvel's Spider-Man was a game that came out. Oh god, it must have been like 2 weeks ago now. That's quite strange. I finished it in like less than a week. It's a fantastic game, and it has been reported that it has become Sony's fastest-selling first-party game ever. USA Today reports that the game sold in just 3 days. The first 3 days it was available, 3.3 million copies. And they also worked out kind of slightly that the base price in America, at least, is $59.99, so $60, just rounded out, not including any special editions sold. If you were to do that maths, it works out at roughly $198 million that's been made from this game. So clearly, it's been well fucking received. It also set a record for the pre-orders for first-party titles ever at 1 million. 1 million people pre-ordered Spider-Man for PS4. And it was a great game anyway, so I'm happy to keep talking about it. The DLC comes out, I think, middle of October. I'm looking forward to going back to playing it. But keeping with Marvel, though, Marvel Games executive Bill Roseman tweeted, quote, Marvel Spider-Man is intended as the Iron Man of Marvel video games, which is exactly how we view it. And with that first MCU hit, Marvel Spider-Man kicks off a new era for Marvel console games. It's been mentioned many times before how Marvel have decided, rather than stick with one producer like Activision and them sort of do things like that, they took their IPs back. They're going to take the IPs to established game developers with good reputations and good records and have them make games for them based on Marvel properties, which is exactly what we've seen with Marvel Spider-Man and obviously Telltale Games, Guardians of the Galaxy. Excuse me. and the Square Enix Eidos Montreal Avengers game, whatever that is, whenever that comes out, we will find out. I look forward to it, at least. I'm curious to see how they're going to play it, though, because obviously Spider-Man is a PS4 exclusive. Other games are not going to be PS4 exclusive. They're going to be multi-platform. So does that mean that other franchises are going to be Xbox exclusive? So if I want to play the whole Marvel cinematic gaming, the Marvel gaming universe, as it were, I'd have to buy an Xbox and all these various other things. Doesn't sound the most appealing, but we'll have to wait and see how that pans out in the future. Moving on, we have a reveal from the Spyro Reignited trilogy of Bianca. I think this is like one of the last things to be revealed. We've seen Crusher and what was his name? The three bad guys from the Rampage. We've seen those. We've seen Nasty Nork. Now we've seen Bianca. We haven't seen the Empress yet from the third game, Year of the Dragon, but we've seen Bianca. You can see her on screen now if you're watching on YouTube. Or you can just Google it and see Bianca. It looks really fucking cool. Basically, it looks really fucking cool. Everything more I see of this game, I'm just more and more excited for the game. So, it comes out on the 16th of November. No, it's the 13th of November. And that date cannot come fast enough. I really honestly can't wait. But moving on to another game that a lot of people can't wait for is Red Dead Redemption 2. We have a few stories to do with Red Dead now. So, let's just get through them the best we can. Rockstar have announced there will be an online feature to Red Dead Redemption 2 called Red Dead Online. It will come in November 2018 and will be considered a public beta. If you purchase Red Dead Redemption 2, you will gain access to the online for free. There's no... You don't have to pay extra to get online. It's fine. And they also revealed that Red Dead Redemption 2 can be played entirely in first-person mode, which will be available at launch on the 26th of October. So take that how you will. I don't know who was sort of vying to see Red Dead in first-person mode, but it might be interesting either way. Again, this is not the kind of game I'm really looking forward to. It's sort of... we know Liam is looking forward to it very heavily, but I don't know. I think that's a nice thing for them to do, at least for the fans out there. And the last thing we're going to talk about Red Dead 2 is they talked about the sort of world you're going to be playing in and the environment and stuff. And this is actually quite baffling to talk about. Red Dead Redemption 2 will have approximately 200 species of animals, including mammals, birds, fish, and more, all of which will like react to the environment and behave in unique, logical ways. So, deer and bison are going to travel in herds. Salmon will swim upstream. Birds of prey are going to soar on thermal updrafts. Possums will play dead to hide from hunters, which may or may not include the player. When you go fishing, having the correct bait will be very, very important to catching the right fish. And even, this sounds mad, but even wind direction. So, like, if you're so downwind of something you're trying to hunt and it catches the whiff of your scent on the wind, it will know that your prey will notice you and run away, which really just sounds fucking mental. And then how you choose to hunt your prey and kill them, or where you're going to shoot them, will affect how the meat and the pelt is scavenged from the bodies, which will then in turn affect how much it's gonna cost you, or how much money you're gonna get from it at traders. As I say, this is not a franchise that I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for those who are looking forward to it, and I hope it is as great as it's expected to be. But this just sounds mental. It sounds absolutely ridiculous how they're really going all in with like every fine detail in this game, and frankly, I think that's fucking amazing. As I say, it comes out on 26th of October. I have no doubt that when it comes out, Liam will play it and he can talk about it on the podcast. But yeah, so Red Dead 2 is shaping up to be a game of the year so far, by how it sounds. As I mentioned at the start of the episode, I have been playing a lot of Phoenix Wright. I have the trilogy on my 3DS. I've been playing through it slowly. Well, guess what they just announced? The Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy is coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch early next year. And the funniest part is, I even said how on the 3DS, there wasn't much change between the games, like they all look the exact same so far. Whereas if you look at the trailer for the remastered trilogy on current gen consoles, It all looks nice and smooth and clean and stuff, and I'm just like, you bastards, why did you announce this when I've only just gotten into the trilogy on a different platform? That's just not fair. But yeah, that's something to look forward to. There's no date just yet, it's just 2019. But as I've said, so far on the 3DS, I've enjoyed them highly. So when they come out on PS4, Xbox One, PC and Switch, I would recommend them to anyone who asks. So, moving on, DMC5, we have a bit of news to that coming out from Tokyo Game Show last week. So, first thing is, it's getting a very special weapon, which will be included in the deluxe edition, and that weapon is the Mega Buster from Mega Man. They have a funny little trailer where I think it's Nero is his name. Not the Dante, the other guy with the white hair and the robot arm. Yeah, him. He's doing all his Mega Man stuff. He's side-scrolling stuff, which you can't actually do in game. It's just the camera angles were changed for the purpose of the promotion, is what the trailer says. You can go check it out yourself. It is actually quite funny. And you get the Mega Buster as a weapon. It revealed at the end of the trailer that comes only in the deluxe edition of DMC5. So you got standard edition. I don't think you'll get it. Maybe you'll get it as a normal DLC kind of thing, or I'm not sure just yet. Either way, deluxe edition will get it, as well as where is it gone? Other weapons as well. There's like 4 weapons, including the Mega Buster. They don't have names though. It's just images, so you'd have to look into those. Unfortunately, I might have them on screen now for you. You'll also get live action cutscenes as additional add-ons. Battle music, which is 12 tracks from Devil May Cry 1 through 4. Alternative style rank announcements and title calls, as well as Dante's weapon, the Cavalier R, which, judging by the picture on the announcement for the deluxe edition, is essentially the motorbike. So yeah, if you're getting deluxe edition of that game, you're gonna get loads of stuff in that deluxe edition. So look forward to that. Just have to turn the light on dead quick because it was getting very dark in here. Keeping with DMC though, this may not be the best news to hear, but apparently DMC5 will have microtransactions. Basically, you'll be able to buy red orbs. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this series, but even I know red orbs are essentially what you use to upgrade your character throughout the game. You can obviously earn them the natural way, or as we've been told with this game, you can just pay real world money to level it up. Now, this is a bit of an odd situation. Microtransactions are sort of a very hot button topic right now in video games. So to say your game has microtransactions, immediately everyone's like, no, we do not want this, take it out. But that's usually in multiplayer games where the content of which people can pay for will make the game easier for them, I guess, make them stronger in some respects. Whereas this is a single player game, there is no multiplayer function to it, so it's a very odd situation. I mean, I don't see why people would use this function. I feel like this function will go widely unused within DMC5 because you're playing the game to play the game. So why would you pay to make your character, like, say you've put down 50 quid on the game when it comes out and you put down an extra 20, 25, maybe 30 pounds to buy a bunch of red orbs to then level up your character so you have a better start at the game. I don't understand the reasoning for this personally. But as I say, it's very different because it's not a multiplayer game, it's a single player game, so it's a odd choice nonetheless. But keeping with microtransactions, unfortunately for Halo fans out there, Halo Infinite will have loot boxes, but I will specify this. However, you will not pay real world money for these loot boxes. You essentially will pay in-game currency. That's how they're making it sound. 343 Studios head Chris Lee has ruled out paid loot boxes in response to a fan on Twitter. It came because there was a job posting at Microsoft 343 Industries for someone who's probably knows how to make these kind of financial systems in games. So yeah, it's gonna have loot boxes, unfortunately. It's just not going to be like actual like paying for them. I think the way they've made it sound as well, there will be microtransactions too, but it won't be in loot box sense where you don't know what you're getting. You can probably pay real world money for items that you know what you're getting, and the loot boxes system inside the game will be used with in-game currency, which again, as far as I'm aware, I've never played Halo. I've only played a few Halo games every so often over my years. I don't remember there being any currency in the games, so I don't understand how they're going to implement currency in the game. I don't know. That's all we have on the matter for now. It's just that Halo Infinite is going to have DLC. It's going to have microtransactions and loot boxes. So it's a shame, but I guess we'll find out more when the game comes out, whenever that may be. So moving on, Pokemon. If you're a big fan of Pokemon Go, which I am, and I've been playing it a lot recently, and just in general, really, I kind of play it every time I go out. Just pick up items, see what's around, the usual spiel. A new Pokemon has been appearing in Pokemon Go for the last week or so, or the last few days at least. Now, it was a very odd-looking creature. Every time you tried to catch it, it would turn into a Ditto. It's actually a Ditto, but the thing that's making people like prick up their ears is that Ditto is turning into a Pokemon we've never seen before, which data miners have found it under the name Kecleon in the game files. Which, again, is weird. Kecleon is one of the few Gen 3 Pokemon that hasn't appeared yet. I think there's only about 10, 15 Pokemon of Gen 3 that have not appeared in the game yet. Kecleon being one of them. But Kecleon already exists, so this Pokemon is not Kecleon. It looks sort of like a grey Ditto with a nut on its head and a pupil. I think it's got like a little scarf thing too. It's pretty weird looking. The creature is tagged as number 891, which... if you keep up to date with the Pokemon games, that's a bit of a red flag, because the last known Pokemon we have in the Pokedex, Zeraora, is number 807. So that's a big fucking gap of unknown Pokemon, which you'd assume to be Generation 8, which will come out probably sometime next year. But either way, to reveal this random Pokemon from Gen 8 now, out of nowhere, is ridiculous. Now, as of the time of recording this, there has been a video posted on the official Pokemon channel where they have given the Pokemon a name. It is a mythical Pokemon called Meltan. And it's actually been announced in-game as well that the Pokemon is called Meltan. And you can still find it in-game. I'm pretty sure, however, it will still just be a Ditto. I have only ever encountered one Meltan so far. And I tried to catch it, it was a Ditto. I have seen more Meltans appear on my radar in-game, but not yet found another one to try and catch it. As soon as I do, I'm going to try. If it turns into a Ditto, fair enough. If it doesn't, I've just caught a Meltan. Whatever the fuck that is. Because literally that's all we know so far. How it looks, and it's called Meltan. No typing, no attacks, no nothing. That's all we know. That's all we're going to know for a little while, unfortunately. So, but moving on with Nintendo. We talked last week about how there's a bit of concern over the cloud save systems, and how if you lost your subscription service for whatever reason, like you couldn't afford to pay for it anymore, and you had saves on the cloud, you would lose those saves forever. Now Nintendo come out and clarify the situation and said that if your subscription expires, you'll then have 180 days to resubscribe and get those saves back. Otherwise, then I imagine, yes, they will be deleted. But 180 days, that's a fair amount of time to... If the save files on the cloud are that important to you, then yeah, that's a fair amount of time to sort of pay for maybe a month's worth and then get your saves back. But as I say, that's what they've clarified. The saves won't be immediately gone. It won't be like, say, the day your subscription runs out because you couldn't afford to pay the next lot of subscriptions. Your saves just immediately thrown out without a second thought. That's not the case. You'll have 180 days to get a fresh subscription and get your save sorted. So worry not, Nintendo fans and Nintendo Online fans. Your cloud saves are fine. And the last news story is something I didn't even realise was actually a news story. I just sort of assumed it to be so. But it has been confirmed now that by Square Enix that the voice of Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be Haley Joel Osment, who has been the voice of Sora since the first game. Again, I didn't really think this needed clarifying. Maybe I'm just the only one who thought this, but I kind of assumed he'd still be Sora. Again, maybe just me. Apparently not. It needed clarifying. So yeah, he's returning as Sora. There's been no other word about other characters like Riku, Kairi, other like original characters like that, if their voice actors are going to return. But we do know that a lot of the Disney characters in the game from the films are coming back to reprise their roles. So basically the entire voice casting from Frozen, that's going to be a world in this game. They're coming back, including Idina Menzel, Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, and is it Jeffrey Gruff? I forget his name. Yeah, him. All those guys are coming back. Tate Donovan, who played Hercules, he's come back to play Hercules. Zachary Levi is coming back to play Flynn Rider from Tangled. No idea yet if the actress who played Rapunzel will come back to play Rapunzel. I don't actually know her name right now. And there's also no word on Big Hero 6 either. But basically, the gist is, Sora is still going to be Sora, and a lot of Disney characters are coming back. So that's the news story here. If you were curious as to who's playing who, when Kingdom Hearts 3 finally comes out in January of 2019. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this week's episode. I'm very sorry about how fast I've spoken and like condition. I'm sorry. I must be coming down with a cold. But as I say, there's a lot been going on this week, and I didn't want to leave you guys without some kind of update. So yes, here it is. It's all wheezy and snotty and horrible. I apologise, but there you go. If, for whatever reason, I haven't covered these stories to your liking, by all means, look more into them. I'll always encourage people to look more into stories, especially on the cases that I get things wrong. So if I have got something wrong, please let me know, and I will be sure to correct that in the next episode. But as I say, thank you all so much for sitting with me this last hour. If you haven't already liked it, please do. If you haven't already subscribed, please do again. We will see you next week when Liam should be back. I really hope he's back. I was totally kidding, though, about the whole customs thing. He's not actually in prison. He's fine. It was a joke. He's fine, just to clarify that. The game, as always, and ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. I love you all. Goodbye.